Boom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, your image is your first impression. And today we're going to learn why top CEOs trust this guy with their image. Let's get this one started. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
Look, a business can give you everything you want in life: prestige, wealth, freedom. It can also take everything away from you. This show is for those who are willing to take that risk. These are the real life stories of entrepreneurs. But before we start, I have one small favor to ask. Please leave a comment. It can be advice, critiques, tips, feedback, or share this with someone because your engagement is the most valuable and most powerful form of social currency. So thank you, and welcome to another episode of Business Bros. Hi, Business Bros. From the world of sports to the boardroom, he brings an athlete's mindset to the lens, capturing confidence, not just photos. He's the go-to guy for executives, lawyers, and top-tier talent who want to lead with presence. So let's welcome to the show the one and only James Stewart. Now we can get this party started. Welcome to the show, James.
Hey, what's up, Hernan? How you doing? Thank you so much for having me on Business Bros. And if I could just before we start, I just want to say, I've been listening to a bunch of your episodes recently, and there's so much value in what you guys do on this podcast. And I just wanted to say, I immediately wanted to write an awesome review for you guys. And I was hoping to tell your listeners, even before we start, if you haven't, you got to go out and do it because this podcast puts out some really awesome stuff. So, I know that helps you guys. So with all the help you put out, I would hope people could go back and also give you guys that help too.
Dude, really appreciate that. The whole idea behind the show is we get to learn from entrepreneurs just like yourselves, the ups, the downs, the successes and the mistakes. And if people can hear that, then at that point, they're going to be able to take the lessons and hopefully improve upon whatever they want to do. And in some cases, maybe you find the person that you want to work with next. Maybe it's the next opportunity. Maybe it's a client. So I think it's beneficial all the way around. Love it, dude. Love it. Well, you get to interact with a lot of entrepreneurs yourself. And I kind of mentioned it in the intro, athletic mindset, going into photography. Give me a little background on you.
For anybody who doesn't know me, my name is James Stewart. I'm a headshot and brand photographer, and I'm based in New York City. I work with a lot of executives, founders, attorneys, athletes, high performers that, need to have an image that represents exactly who they are, and people who realize it's not just a photo, it's a business asset. So my focus is helping them show up online and in person with the kind of presence that builds trust, open doors, and creates a lot of opportunities.
So I got a camera on my Apple iPhone, right? It's a pretty good camera. It takes nice pictures, but obviously I'm not capturing the same quality image on a professional level. What do you think most professionals kind of get wrong about their image before they even step foot in front of the camera?
I see a lot of the common, or people say a lot of the common things, and I think I totally understand, and I'm exactly the same way. Even being a photographer, but people walk in and I think they're already in this mindset that they don't want to do this, that they just have to do this. A lot of people say, including myself, I don't photograph. I don't take pictures well. I don't know how to smile. And I genuinely feel that a bit myself too. But the thing that I've learned, and the thing that I would want everybody to understand is sort of what I said. It's not a thing you have to do. It's like a business asset. A lot of the things and decisions that people make are based off of split-second decisions. So they might see your 4-year-old or 5-year-old headshot, which is what you said, an iPhone, and there's people in the background, and it's just not professional looking, and they're selling themselves short because it doesn't really present who they actually are. And some of these peoples are heads of whatever industry or leaders of these companies or top athletes. And they kind of phone it in sometimes for headshots, and they think it's just kind of a thing you have to do. And I think that mindset going into it as a business asset, a thing that's going to help you. It's not something that just costs a lot of money. The value you get out of that is people seeing your confidence, your authority, like before they ever meet you. So that, I think, has a lot of bearing on people's decision making, especially in like a higher stake situation. So that mindset of like, we have to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't like being photographed, or I'm not good at being photographed, I think they walk in with a whole negative attitude about it first. And I understand that, but like, that's what my job is, to kind of get you out of that and show you the value of like what this is as an asset.
I got to give you the energy as a photographer. You got to come in, get them hyped, get them pumped, get them having that confident feeling that they have, and giving them the ability to be their best self in front of the camera. I'm with you too, by the way. Like when I talk to people about doing podcasting, they don't like the sound of their voice. They don't like the way they look on camera, and nobody does at first, but with a little bit of coaching and a little bit of finesse, you get better and better and better at it. Now, let me ask you about the frequency about doing, headshots or doing photo shots. Cause at the end of the day, when I talk to a realtor and I see them and I compare it to the photo that I'm looking at, for example, and this happens in every industry, you put this photo that looks amazing and it's the best version of you. And then the real version of you doesn't quite line up. It doesn't quite match up. How can we kind of merge those two so that when people look at a picture of me, it gives me that power statement that I'm looking for, but it's also current enough that it's not a big drastic difference, right?
Yeah, totally. People, the way I see it, or the way I think is, I want a headshot to present like confidence and approachability. So, like you don't want to look like a prick, right? Like, you want to look like someone you could walk up to and talk. You don't want to look unapproachable, and you certainly you want to look confident. You do not want to look like you don't know what you're doing, or you're winging it, or you're just guessing. Like, you want to show people what you know. And, that is sort of like what I'm trying to get out of that person is confidence. And I know for me personally, I have a little issue with that sometimes, and I gotta like talk myself up. And the first time that I had another photographer do my headshot, I looked at the monitor and I was like blown away. I didn't think it was me at first. So like, that's what I'm trying to get. That's what I'm trying to get out of the person, the subject, is confidence and approachability, and that kind of builds authority.
Can you walk me through the coaching driven style that you have when it comes to transforming those headshots so that when people look at the monitor, when they're working with you, they're like, wait, that's me?
Yeah, totally. That's exactly what I'm going for. And I kind of think about it like, I am a coach, and let's say, you're the subject, but like, let's look at it in an athletic way. Top performing athletes, one thing that makes a good athlete is that they're coachable. They take direction from other people, from people that they trust, that are going to help them do better or whatever they're working on, right? So, even like the greatest athletes, they have coaches. So I look at it that way, and I look at it athletically sort of too, in that, it's reps. Like, you don't just step in front of this camera and I hit the button and, 2-3 times and we just like nail it. It takes some work. So what I want to do is get you in front of the camera. And if you're one of the people like I described before, which is a lot of people, it's going to take me a little time to build some trust with you. So, we start slowly, and I'll show you, I will kind of like mime the movements I want you to do so you can see what they look like. And then we, take one and we get that down. I show you a picture. When we nail that, and I see that they're kind of like, I'm not telling them anymore that last step, they're doing it on their own, we'll add in another step. And these are all like, very subtle moves or steps or positions that we take. But then as we review and as you see it, you see you're building and you're like,
Uh-oh, I think we lost your audio there. Got to check your audio real quick. Oh, I think we lost your audio. So there's a little gear setting at the bottom. You can hit that little. There you go. There we go. We got you again.
got it?
Got you. Keep going.
Sorry.
No worries. Oh, there it went again. We dropped it. That's the thing about doing live shows, ladies and gentlemen. They come and they go. They come and they go. We always have some technical difficulties when talking to somebody from across the U.S. By the way, so James is in New York, like he said. I'm in San Diego, and hopefully the internet connection is fine. But every once in a while, we got some technical difficulties. So no worries. There you go. You're good to go.
All right, cool. Sorry about that. So yeah. We gotta get into it. We gotta do reps, right? Just like you wouldn't walk into the gym and throw 500 pounds on the barbell and just start deadlifting. You go in there, you maybe go through your range of motions, you use a PVC pipe and do the exercise just to like get the movement down. Then you throw a little weight on, keep your good, you got your posture going, your form is good. You add weight, take a break, add weight. So it's sort of like, that's how I look at it, that as I am trying to coach an athlete. And we have to just put the reps in and, we're working together at this point. And, by the end of that, it's a completely different attitude than as they walk in, everybody's a little more relaxed. So that's sort of how the approach I take to it.
I like that approach because it's very uncomfortable to look at a picture of yourself. It's very uncomfortable to watch a video of yourself, to hear your voice, and you are probably the biggest critic when it comes to things about yourself. Nothing's ever going to look good. Nothing's ever going to sound great when it comes out of your mouth. That's not necessarily the case when other people see you, though. Other people can kind of present you a little bit differently. You come off in a different light when you're speaking. I mean, the voice, you might not like it, but it's the one you got. It's the one that's giving the impression to everybody else. Same with your image. When you book these clients, is there a preference for you or maybe for the client, whether they're taking photos outside or inside a studio? Does it matter, or is it something that you discuss ahead of time? How do you kind of situate inside or outside type of photos?
As somebody who does, like, I love shooting on location outside, like, New York City, you have, I don't know, iconic stuff in the background everywhere.
Yeah.
But my take for a headshot is, and I think a thing that a lot of people not necessarily get wrong or just like maybe misinformed, is that it sounds stupid, but like a headshot literally is a shot of it's just your head. It's like maybe down, to here, there's a little shoulder showing. And I see a lot of headshots that are like half body, and they got people in the background, like I was saying. So for a business or like an actor or an executive or something like that, like, I would recommend we don't do background because we want the focus just on your face. And that kind of scares people a little. And, you're just like, you think of this whole frame with just like your face in it. But that is where the confidence comes from. I know body language is a big thing, but like, I'm getting that body language out of your face, basically. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of architecting your expression. So I want to keep it solid background. I don't know if I would go, if you're like a comedian or we're doing something like artsy or you're a performer, maybe we do like a colored background. But generally for like high performers and athletes and things like that, attorneys, like we kind of have like a neutral or darker background. And there's no hard, fast rule to that. But just from what I think and what I've seen, the focus is just on the person's face. And the expression is giving off the confidence and the approachability. So like, that's why we kind of just narrow it in just to that. And we don't want too many distractions in the background. But that being said, like if it's for something different, like, like a comedian or something like that, then a background, you might be a little wider and you might have some stuff in the background, like a stage or mics or, certain environmental setting for like your profession, then it is a good idea. And again, like we can do anything. So if a client does want that, like I would make sure that we nail what they want. And then we try it the way that I want to shoot it. And just, they can have both. They can have just the one that they wanted. But a lot of times, like showing somebody something when they're reluctant or they have some aversion to doing it. Like, it's like, we don't have to use it. You don't have to take it. I don't have to edit it. But like, I just want to show them the version of it. Like I was explaining with like, no distractions, close up type of thing.
And basically how amazing you actually look. Let me show you what we see and how we see you, not how you see yourself, and stop criticizing yourself. Let me show you the glam that you actually are. You transitioned from like sports photography to this like elite brand portraits type stuff. What was your biggest challenge when transitioning from, that action type movement to headshots and working with some of these elite CEOs and top athletes?
I guess like the one major difference was like just the speed of everything.
Mm.
I generally shoot like fast sports, paddle, CrossFit, fitness type of things. Sports generally very fast, and also depending on the situation. I mean, most of the time you're not in control of anything. You are like an observer, and you're just trying to like position yourself in a good angle for what you have to kind of anticipate is what's coming, right? You got to be there before the ball gets there. You got to anticipate someone before they cross the finish line to catch them as they're going across the finish line. And you're kind of always keeping the camera on specific athletes because there's a lot of like emotional reactions in sports. There's a lot of like jubilation and like screaming, and like when somebody scores, everybody's like high five. And so that's my favorite part of sports shots. I love the action shots, but like the emotional shots where like someone's lost and you just see everything drop, their whole face just drop. When someone wins and they're being hugged by like a loved one, or like someone runs onto the field, like those are the sports shots that I love. And I guess I liked it is because you're kind of just sniping the action. You're moving around, you're positioning yourself. If you're with a team, you're kind of like positioning other photographers and trying to cover as much as possible. But when you get into the headshots, it's like, it's quiet, it's one-on-one, there's no other action going around. There's no distractions. It's like, just we're basically how you and I are talking, we're a couple feet apart from each other. It's pretty close. And there's, I guess in the sports thing, you can kind of pick all these different places to be. There's not just always one good spot, but in doing these headshots, like you're working one-on-one, and, for how I was explaining, a lot of people are like intimidated by photos. Sometimes it's intimidating. Like I'm taking a picture of somebody who's like, general counsel for like a Fortune 500 company. Like this person does not have time to mess around. You got to be on your game. You got to have your rapport with that person. You got to get it quick. So they trust you. If you don't, they're going to start feeling like they've wasted their time. So, it's not like it's completely dead, but there's not the same type of action. And the focus, I think, is at least, on one person, your client, which is very nice. It's just one-on-one. Whereas like in sports, it could be a whole team, a football team where you got to look for all the different players. And there's just a lot going on. So in the headshot game, it is kind of nice because you can kind of quiet things down and like focus right on the person in front of you.
Now you've trained with Peter Hurley, and you've built a national brand. And there's tons of photographers out there. So what was the mindset that kind of helped you stand out in that creative space? How did you rise to the top when there's so many different people with so many different cameras and so many different types of talents? What made you stand out?
Part of what I am doing right now is I'm part of Peter Hurley's headshot crew. And that is like a worldwide group of similar photographers. And we're all trying to like, learn how to do the best headshots in the world. Always trying to improve. I'm not that I'm never happy with anything, but I'm always trying to like tweak it, make it better. And that obviously the better I get at it, the easier it is and the more value it brings to the people who get in front of my camera. But part of, I guess, sort of what that's my main like goal in this. And that's my mindset, was to become, the best headshot photographer that I could. I'm in New York. Peter Hurley's in New York and LA. It's like a big boots to be around, it's like a head honcho of, headshots, worldwide known. But like, what part of the other part of the mindset is like, you know, I did a training with him like a year ago, and it was very intimidating. It's like, you know, it's kind of like if you're, you know, just like a hobbyist, you know, you're into like, I don't know, like baseball or whatever. And it's like, now you're getting coached by like Mariano Rivera, you know, like, it's hard to do, but like at the same time, that like uncomfortableness is kind of what keeps me going in it. I want to give people like a headshot of all the things I was saying, like that they like. I want them to have the best headshot that they've ever had. So, you know, I have a lot of sports clients, and they would always ask me, oh, do you do headshots? You know, so I would do a headshot here and there. And I just thought like, you know, it was okay what I was doing, but, you know, I knew of Peter Hurley for a long time, and I saw that he was doing a workshop, and I was like, this is kind of what I need. I don't want to just do any old headshot. I want to do the best headshot. So if you want to do the best, you got to kind of go find the best and learn from them. And that's sort of what I'm doing now. And being part of that group is really awesome because it's a bunch of other photographers, and we're all trying to do the same thing. So it's not just Peter, it's, you know, all these other people he's trained, and everybody's there to help everybody. There's like no secrets. It's really great. So I'm hoping that that'll just level up my skills even more so I can bring more value to my clients.
And you do it in sports as well. Like I know growing up, I always wanted to compete with the people who were better than me. I might have sucked, you know, when I played a game with them. I'm sure they were like, nah, I don't want to play with that guy. Like he's not that great, but it made my game a lot better. Right. That's why, you know, I'm 13, I'm playing with 16, 17-year-old kids. You know, it always brings you to that next level when you're around those people that are competing at a high level. Same thing in business, right? There's professionals that have been doing what you want to do for years. And if you're around those people, you can't help just by osmosis alone. You can't help but get better in the craft that you're working on. Now, you mentioned earlier presence, not poses, right? And what does that actually look like during a shoot? What's the difference between someone coming up and posing and then you being able to get them to command that presence?
I guess it would kind of also circle back a little to like, I don't know, like you get in front of you get, you know, like a selfie or whatever, like they're cool shots. You get some candid shots. They're really cool. And even headshots, like from my experience, a lot of photographers focus solely on making the light, you know, as best as possible, beautiful light. They have this amazing equipment, but I think the magic is between it's the connection and the interaction that the photographer and the subject have. Mm-hmm. Like I was saying before, some people are a little harder to warm up. That's my job, to get them to warm up. But when I say like presence, it's sort of like, it's hard to describe, but it's like the confidence you just know it when you see it. And it's the approachability, like I was saying. You can tell, like, I don't know, you see some people every once in a while, you see a picture of them, you're like, this guy just, I don't know, there's something off, and you don't even know what it is. And you might not even know something's wrong, but like seeing some, like a really poor headshot when you're going into like a business decision, you know, you might just have this like hunch. You're like, I don't know, something's not right, or you just like don't want to move forward. And I'm not saying that that's everything rides on your headshot, but again, it is a lot of times it speaks to somebody before you actually get to speak to them, or before they actually get to like see you. So I want not just a pose, even if it's a decent pose, I want to pull out like who you are and why you're good at what you're doing. And all that is in your face. It's in your eyes. And it's confidence that you will see, versus someone who's like, oh, you know, like, oh, it's a nice picture. But like when you see it, you know what it is and you feel it. And that's kind of what I think the difference is, if that makes sense.
No, it totally does. We live in a digital age, so let's face it, that face-to-face interaction is not the first thing that's going to happen. If you know you're going to have a meeting with someone, you're going to, well, I used to say you'd Google somebody, but now you ChatGPT somebody these days, right? And it starts to pull up all the information about you, including those images. And if you don't have that professional image, the one that casts the confidence that of who it is that you are and what it is that you do, then you're already starting off a little rough. And I don't think I would do this episode just if I didn't ask for tips. So for those that are maybe taking selfies or maybe trying to improve upon their headshot and they don't have access to you out there in New York, what are some tips that maybe they can get so that they can take a better picture of themselves and have that stronger digital presence?
So, there's a bunch of different things, right? Like we were talking before, like for a professional setting, I think it's best, to have like a solid background. So, you can get a really good shot with an iPhone and just like your white wall. They make very inexpensive little lights that you can adjust the color, you can adjust the intensity of them. And that equipment wise, like you do not need anything crazy to do like a nice shot. Like I said before, I think a lot of the magic is interacting with the photographer. It just takes a lot of the pressure off of you. And if you look at it like this person is here to coach me through it, I'm just going to do what they think or what they tell me to do. And you do those movements. That's kind of how you get to that. But like, if you're doing that by yourself, I think one of the number one things I would say to people is you want to stick, and this is a big thing in the headshot crew. And it's like kind of one of the main basis of taking these photos is like, a lot of times when people give a big smile or they're posing for something, like, I don't know, it doesn't really matter like your body type or anything. Everybody kind of can get stuck with like a double chin. And it's really easy to get rid of that. And, this is exactly what I would show a client is I would turn to the side and I would say, like, I know this is a little uncomfortable, but like, I want you to jam your neck out and your chin out as far as you can. And you would just kind of do something like that and kind of pull it back. And it's very uncomfortable out like that, but that, just gets rid of that whole double chin. And that's like kind of the basis of the confidence. That's like the beginning of it. And then, if you were working with me, we have all these other things that we would build on. There's, for your eyes, where you're pointing, where you're looking. But I guess for the person who can't get to a photographer, what I just showed you about the neck, it's like, you got to just try it. It's a little uncomfortable, but try it. And you'll notice you just look totally different. And you look very commanding, like, you are the leader that you want to be seen as.
No, that's huge. And I don't mean your double chin being huge. I mean, that's a huge tip to help avoid having that double chin. Because I know, and it's not just the fellas, the ladies struggle with that too. They hate the fact this is one of the reasons why the selfies come from way up here instead of from down here. They're trying to avoid that same exact situation. So to avoid the double chin, that's a money shot right there. That's a great piece of advice. James, if people do want to get a hold of you, they want to sit down and have a professional shot done, how can they get a hold of you? What can they expect?
So I guess like I just wanted to say before that, I do have a lot of people like attorneys, pro athletes, just high performers. And if those people are out there and they like, have that feeling like, all right, he's probably talking about me. I need to like level my shot up, or I need a better shot. Like I'm trying to be a leader in this field. I can't have this shot. I put together just like a little, it's called the Headshot Level Up Kit. And it's just kind of like the resources that I know of and use. I kind of just compiled everything for you. And I generally only give it to like very high performing clients that come to me looking for these shots. But what it does is going to give you like, kind of like, it'll show you like the ROI of like a good headshot. And I just want people to know that like, it's not a thing that you have to do. It's not just some drag. It has a lot of value to it. And if you look at it a different way like that, you can see why maybe some of these things aren't working right. And this thing is just some information. And if you do want to get in touch with me, just hit me on Instagram and send me a message on Instagram and just say confidence. And I'll send that over to you guys. My Instagram is James Severio Photog. And I will send that over and I'm happy to talk with anybody. Shoot me an email. I'm also on LinkedIn, James Severio Stewart. And you can probably find my website and hit me up. I'm in New York and I also do a lot of travel. So I'm not just here all the time.
Love it. Love it. James, like you are literally changing the face of what these people are doing simply by doing what you're professionally trained to do, what you've been helping people do all over. First of all, getting rid of that double chin, right? But second, just getting them the confidence that they need so that they're looking good in front of a camera. Ladies and gents, your digital footprint is more prevalent today than ever before. You absolutely need to have a professional headshot. The more content you put out with a professional image, the more you're going to look like that confident CEO, that person who can run the show, the person who is designed or fit for that job that you're looking to get. So make sure you hit up James, his website scrolling across the bottom. Hit him up on Instagram as well. James, thank you very much for coming on the program today. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for you on this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. And we're out.
It's over. Go home.
Is your business in need of marketing? Try starting a podcast. But not just any podcast. Podcast like a pro. We can show you how to take your business from being invisible to becoming a brand people trust. Go to www.businessbros.biz to get